Hello and happy Wednesday, everyone. I'm Leonne Sherr. Welcome to the WonderMama Coffee Chat. Every Wednesday, I bring someone here that I really want you to meet. I like to bring mothers, entrepreneurs, coaches, people who are really trying to make the world a better place because that's really what we're here to do. I believe that we all have something that we need, and I want to introduce you to the people that I know may have something that you need. So today I want to introduce you to Alisa St. George. I always have to read this. So today we're naming something most women feel but rarely articulate. Not burnout, not crisis, the quiet decline that shows up long before anything else looks wrong on paper. My guest, Alisa St. George, knows this terrain intimately. She's the mother of six, a Nona of four, Nona like me, I love that, and a woman who's rebuilt her health and her sense of self after cancer forced her to understand what the body needs to truly heal. Her journey revealed what so many high capacity women experience. You can be functioning and you can be getting it all done and still feel like you're slowly fading from your own life. That sounds familiar to, I know, not just me. Um, so I would love for you to just tell us about yourself.
Well, first off, Leon, thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to connect with other women who are strong, persistent, dedicated, heartfelt, faith-filled. We need to stick together. I'm so over the high school culture, and I believe one of the incredible benefits of maturity and aging is that we unite. We finally have lost that sense of competition, and now we understand how cooperating and lifting one another up is going to benefit all of us. And so, anytime I can pour into another woman any kind of knowledge or wisdom or information that might be helpful to her, it's just a privilege and a pleasure. So, thank you so much for having me. As you said, I'm a mom of six. I have a blended family. My kids range from the age of 23 to 35. Four grandchildren, a 1-year-old, 8-year-old twins, and a 12-year-old. So I've going around this circle twice here. And what I'm finding is being a Nona is such a unique position to be in. And I love being able to intentionally share with my grandkids some of the things I didn't know when I was a young mom. And so, again, our place here on this earth, right, is to share, to elevate others, and to help them. And if there's something that we know that can help another one, then we have to share it. And that's kind of how I got into LifeWave. But besides my family, I love to ballroom dance. I love music. And I did not discover that until I was 40 in the midst of a divorce. And that was a transition period for me. And, uh, I chose to use that transition period in a way that shifted my thinking, shifted my physical presence and how I showed up. And taking chances during those transition times can really reap like exponential benefits. I think that things are heightened during a transition and it can either go really bad or really well, depending on how we approach it. I've always loved fitness. I love to move my body, and part of my slow decline was very noticeable in that area.
Mm.
So yeah, I'd love to talk about that.
Yeah, so talk like do talk about that. When did you realize that something in your body was shifting in a way that wasn't crisis?
Yeah. Um, I was probably in my, gosh, in my mid to late 40s. I think some of the simple, basic things that most women recognize is that challenge in sleep, right? Our hormones are all over the place. Some women are in, premenopause. I had experienced chemotherapy in my late 30s. And so for me, I think, my shift was a little bit earlier than some, and I was unprepared for that. And I don't think anyone really is prepared, no matter our age. We don't talk a lot about it. The loss of strength, the sleep disturbances, the discomfort, some of the things that were just very, basic that we could do previously, we start to avoid. And that slow decline, that is one of the ways that you are not feeling like yourself when you start to avoid things and you don't pay attention to it as an issue. You just find a way around it. We accommodate and it kind of falls to the wayside and we don't even consider it something that we need to even be aware of or address.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I sorry, but like
No.
my brain is like boop, boop, boop.
Yeah.
I remember that time and I remember going to the doctor and saying, something's not right. And they're like, oh, you're just perimenopausal, like poo-pooed it, like it wasn't, but it felt catastrophic actually.
Oh, wow.
But I mean, just so much was happening. And I mean, maybe that's a huge word, but it did. It felt like something was really wrong and nobody knew
Sure.
to tell me like maybe something terrible was truly happening um and it wasn't until just a few years ago when I recognized and like well into menopause recognized that some of that definitely normal, but it can be supported because
Sure.
the natural occurrence of our life, but it did feel
Yes.
and our society really doesn't support
No.
us.
No. Not at all. No. And I think what we often miss is that there are so many basic, fundamental, foundational benefits that we can achieve through natural means. We're not well versed. Most of us aren't. I had no idea about holistic modalities or that the sun was so incredibly powerful or grounding our bare feet on the earth could bring us, real wellness. Like these are things that we experience as a child because our generation spent a lot of time outdoors.
Yep,
And it was natural for us. But the further and further we got away from nature, and I believe like these younger generations haven't experienced the true optimal wellness because of that. We kind of forgot that it doesn't have to be all that complicated, right? We have lives that are very busy and challenging. And so it's the natural thing to just push discomfort aside because we don't have time for it. That's the bottom line. We just don't have time for it. But some of these things are very simple and very rudimentary that we can, instill into our daily habits and have a big impact on our optimal wellness.
for sure, for sure. And that isn't something, it's not even something that people, one, feel comfortable sharing, that they don't feel. And
Mhm.
for a lot of people, stepping out into the sun and how grounding having our bare feet in the ground and the how Mother Earth, just the smell of earth is
Yeah.
healing for us. That sounds kind of woo to a lot of people and kind of
Yeah.
not not true.
Yeah.
Like that can't be real. I need a pill or I need
Yeah.
medication or I just need to suck it up
Yeah.
instead of seeking that. So what was your turning point? What was the moment that you understood that that feeling wasn't normal and that your body was asking for support? And then what happened?
Well, it's a blessing and a curse to be low on money, right? Because you start seeking alternatives that you can afford, right? I can't afford, well, I can now, praise be. I can afford to go get a massage every week or every other week. Most people can't. That's a big expense. So, re- when you have the need to be resourceful, you are very resourceful. And so I started learning about things like grounding, like fasting, like things that are free, right? Start there because it's simple, it's affordable, it's accessible to you. Learn a little bit more about those things that you know that you can actually access, right? Start there, the simple, basic things. But people don't know what they don't know. So it's great to connect with someone who's a resource who can point you in the right direction and say, hey, what would you like to learn about? Maybe this will help. And with holistic modalities, a lot of times we call it stacking, health stacking. So yeah, it's great if you start intentionally providing more nutrition to yourself in that way. But if you're sitting on the couch all day, your body's still going to struggle, right? So we health stack. We do the best we can with our nutrition. Then we try to move a little bit every day. Like we're computers, we intentionally have to get up and move our bodies, right? And so adding modalities that are natural lifestyle habits on top of one another are always going to have a compounding effect. So I tell people kind of start there. And that's kind of what I did. I just started learning, I started reading, I started asking questions. When you're thinking about something, those things tend to come into your environment, right? It's like, oh, I just happened to meet somebody who has a little bit more knowledge on this or who's a naturopath. And then you can kind of expand from there. It's a process, just like anything else. So you're going to learn, you're going to go in the direction that feels right to you, something that resonates that you could do because adding more complicated, expensive things that are not realistic, people just kind of give up. They decide that it can't be for them and it must be out of reach for them. So
Well, yeah,
that's
and I kind of want to, I love that because it is really important. What you're talking about is, you know, something doesn't feel right and you start learning. Well, also expensive is, coaching, finding somebody like this,
sure.
and very confusing to even know
Yep.
where do you start? What do you start
True.
studying? What do you start learning,
Mhm.
And so, um, and so where do you go for all of this? Like where does like somebody who has no education, who's starting to go through this, who's kind of eaten a lot of processed food, has, worked their 9 to 5, they don't haven't had exposure to this kind of thing, and
Sure.
we're running across our conversation.
Yeah.
And we want that woman, like somebody says you need to exercise, and she thinks she needs to go out there and run a 5K. No, thank you. No,
Hmm.
that's
Yeah.
not the thing. And
Yeah.
so, for somebody to start, what, like, how would you describe the best step for somebody to start looking who doesn't have access or experience to something that feels really too woo? Like, what
Sure.
questions would she ask in the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, well, I think it starts with where the greatest need is, right? Because all of these solutions stem from a problem. So if someone doesn't recognize a problem, it doesn't consider something a problem, then until it affects something in their life tangibly, it's not going to be a problem. Um, and so I created a wellness audit so women can kind of start thinking about that before, right? We're in the slow decline before something pops up. Um, disease slowly creeps in and wellness slowly develops. It's not an overnight thing. So something like the capacity audit that I created will help a woman become aware of where are the parts in her life that are actually affecting her quality of life, because that's what it comes down to. Um, Once you have a problem isolated, now you can talk about what are some of the things that you can do to address that. And they don't have to be big deal things, but if you find somebody that is trusted, that will listen to you, that will point you in the right direction, that's really ideal. nobody knows everything. And so to surround yourself with a community like you have, where you have resources to be able to ask questions and say, hey, does anybody know about this? Or can you, give me some ideas of which direction to go? That's really invaluable. And that's kind of what I spoke to earlier about let's lift each other up and support each other because we all benefit. Um,
100%.
yeah. So, I guess the main thing I want to say is that you're not alone. Don't feel overwhelmed because so many other people are there with you. Any step in the right direction is good. We need to move away from paralyzed fear because we've been trained, oh, don't stay in the sun too long. You might get burned. Don't go into the forest. You might get a tick bite. And so those are the things that are kind of top of mind. We need to move away from that fear, empower ourselves again, move into faith and belief that all is going to work out for us in the best case scenario, and find other people to surround yourself with who can um, reiterate that for you, can repeat that for you and make you believe it, right? Because that's the hardest part is belief. Yeah.
Yeah. This what just came up to me, you're talking about surrounding yourself with people that you really trust. Something really quite miraculous happened just the other day. I was talking to a woman she was reading The First Ladies. I
Mm.
think that's the title of the book.
Okay.
But it was talking about the first ladies and their friendships.
Okay.
Um, and she said that she'd had just a really lovely week. She felt really connected to the world and to her friends. And earlier in the week, she had spent the evening um, with friends for a wine o'clock where they were sitting and they talking and laughing, and it was outside and they were listening to the rain and how restorative that is.
Mm.
And I'm thinking about what you're saying is like those are the people that that's where those conversations are starting, because
Sure.
still, it's so, social media, that's another reason why the Wonder Mama Coffee Chat happens, is because we're out here on social media and we're reaching out to people. It's scary. This world is scary right now
Sure.
in the electronic world. So we need to lift each other up and highlight. Alisa is a real wonderful human, and she's out there to make other people's lives better. That's why I'm here too.
Yeah.
I am here. But to many, we could just be another name out there.
Sure. Of course.
So these communities that we build
Mhm.
are the beginning of that healing. So I know I have my own view, but I would love to hear your words. What changes? What happens to a woman when she starts making these changes in her life? What
Yeah.
happens to her on the inside?
For me, what comes to mind is expansion because when we are depressed, when we're in pain, when we feel less than, we are diminishing our world. Our world becomes smaller. We only do certain things at certain times, maybe with certain people, so that we can be comfortable, that we can be effective in what we're doing. We start to accommodate. And as women feel better, do better, know more, share more, um, feel good, their world expands.
Mm,
And so we can then impact other people. The shame of being isolated is not only in that one person, but the collective does not, yeah, evolve, Tina. That's exactly right. The collective cannot experience the growth, and you are an integral part of that group.
mm.
And so when you can contribute and you expand, you evolve, and you are able to contribute, everybody benefits, and I think that's what we always forget. We're in such a me-centered kind of society, yeah, that when we're together, we help each other. So
I love that you said that, because people do forget how reciprocal it is.
yeah,
How when we do this internal work, and it impacts everybody around us.
sure.
That whole "when mama's not happy, nobody's happy." It's true. It's true. If we walk around and we're a storm cloud inside for ourselves,
Yeah.
we stay very introverted. We stay very stuck, very stuck.
Yeah.
But when we can turn it out
Hmm.
and realize that, oh, I've learned something new. I've learned something about myself. Here, let me tell you.
Hmm.
Um, so I love that. I love that so much because we do need to see how powerful we are when we do the work for ourselves, how
Yeah.
incredible that impacts not only our families, but
Yeah.
also our communities and therefore all of it.
Yeah.
Expansion,
Sure.
evolving. I
Yeah.
love it. So tell me, us, I'm not, it's not just me, is it? We're talking to a lot of people. Um, what inspired you to create the capacity audit?
Hmm. Sure.
And what tends to surprise women when they see their
Hmm. Yeah. Like I said, awareness is key, and we do very little reflecting these days. We don't have a lot of time to sit and reflect. Um, we also don't want to admit that we may be declining in certain areas because it's scary, because we've always been capable in these areas, and we don't want to consider what that might mean, right? So the audit really was developed as a way to, as like a quiet entry into a woman's awareness about herself. It doesn't mean she has to do anything about it. It doesn't mean that there's something dramatically wrong. It's just get back in touch with how you feel, um, what your daily activities look like. How have things shifted over the years? Because like I said, things are so gradual. Sometimes we just don't even notice. Um, and be honest about where the deficits feel like they should be addressed. Where does your body need a little bit more support?
Mhm.
So really it was born out of a way to assist women in slowing down and becoming more aware and putting themselves, you know, first and foremost so that they can pour into others. Um, it's tough when you have little kids, as you know, and there's a shift that happens as those children age up. And it's really hard for women to make that transition into, okay, I can spend a little bit more time on myself, and I don't always have to be micromanaging everybody else. And so for me, it was like a pivotal time in my life. So it's kind of like my time. I want to live the best I can, and I want my next chapter to be incredible because my kids are separate from me. It took me a while to like really embrace that and love that for them. Yeah. But then
Yeah.
it leaves you with, okay, what's my purpose? Where do I land here? And so that's
Yeah.
kind of a first step. Like look at yourself and see what you want and see until you feel great and you're not until you're living in, optimal physical, emotional, spiritual wellness, it's hard to take the next steps and to make your chapter as great as you want it to be. So,
When you're talking about that, that is such a timely comment to make about, this is the week, this week, and I think this week and next week are a lot of high school and college students are graduating right now. This
yeah,
is, this is transitioning
yeah,
across the country. And I remember when my youngest, I was kind of panicky with high school graduation. He wasn't ready to leave, but when
mm,
he did leave, the last one, like the others, it was hard, but I was not really letting them go. I was just like extending the rope out there.
yeah,
And then when that last one, and I took kind of an evaluation of what was happening, that they actually were grown men and they were doing life and they were going to do it the way they needed to do it.
yeah,
And then my youngest left, and I really felt like I fell off a cliff. Like that's what it was like, whoa, what do I do now? Who am I? And
yeah,
I think I cried for a day. I don't think I got out of bed. I think it was like grief.
yeah,
I wasn't relief. It was grief and like that it was the longest breakup my boyfriend ever did with me when he, slowly grew up and moved out. And
yeah,
that's what it felt like. It felt like the most devastating breakup. And then you realize that they still love you. They just need you different. So they never leave and they're
Yeah.
still breaking up with you. It's weird. Anyway, but
Yeah.
but letting go. And so this is a really big time where many women, many moms and
Sure. Yeah.
dads, many parents are really looking at their kids. And most of the kids are pretty excited, right? Because they've been waiting
Yeah.
for this their whole lives, and we've been waiting for it too. And then we realize, oh my God, this kind of sucks.
Yeah. Right. Bittersweet, proud, scared. Yeah.
Yes. And then it takes some time, and we
Yeah.
realize, oh, this is okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is really okay. They're going to be okay. We put all the good stuff in them.
Yeah.
They're going to make good decisions. And I get to do something I haven't done in a really long time because
Yeah.
I'm not in crisis.
Yeah.
This is just a transition. So I love that. So we are close to ending our
Sure.
live on Facebook. But then we're going to go in where we can have a lively conversation with Tina and whoever else is in there from the Wonder Mama community. But I would love to know what, how do we connect with you? How does one connect with you? And perhaps even start with that capacity audit. That might be a really, is that the way to get started with you?
Sure. Yeah, I would love for someone to take the capacity audit. I like to have conversations with people. You don't know what you don't know, and a conversation can always benefit you. I never put any pressure on people to make any decisions. This is about awareness and where you might need support. And if I can play a part in that, fabulous. If I can refer you to someone else who can play a part in that, fabulous. The goal is to affect one person each day, right? So if I can make a positive impact on at least one person each day, then, I feel like I'm doing my job, like I have that purpose again, that we have when our kids are young. Yeah.
Oh, I know you made a positive impact on many people today
Yeah,
by
thank
being
you.
here with us on the Wonder Mama Coffee Chat. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I know what I will do is after this live ends in about an hour or so, we'll get something and we'll put your contact information. Anyone who's catching us on Facebook, hopefully will see that they can find you, follow you right on Facebook, but any of your links and everything will include here. And I just want to thank you all so much. For being here with us today. Alisa and I are hopefully going to be fast friends for a long time. And one last plug I have to do, which I normally don't do, but tonight for the Wonder Mama, I am holding a live webinar that talks about the compass table. The compass is my coaching framework, and the compass table is a brand new group coaching program that I'm opening up to just 10 women. And I am doing a live webinar tonight to talk about what that looks like and to let all of you, whoever's listening, to come and see if it's the right thing for you. And as always, thank you for being here. If you are part of the Wonder Mama community, come join the rest of the conversation with Alisa and I inside the Zoom link, which you can join from inside the community. If you're not part of the community, the door is open. It's free to join, and we would love to have you. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Next week, join me for my next amazing guest. I believe I have Amy Majkowski.
Yes.
See you then, everybody.
Bye-bye.